Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. What I wanted to do is just share with you guys my hunting setup that I do for self-filming for turkeys. I'll really cover two here. One is really from a blind, and the other one is just say when I'm running and gunning. And again, others I'm sure might be doing this differently, but this is kind of the setup I've come up with. I've moved now to where, especially when I'm doing a blind, and I'll do it too whenever I'm running and gunning, I'll actually have 3 cameras set up. I'll go through my camera setups one by one, kind of show you here some footage too of what it kind of looks like when I've got it all in place. And then, hopefully you guys will find that beneficial, especially if you all are getting interested in the self-filming at all yourself. So one of the things I will say this is some of the best products that I've come across and that I use is Fourth Arrow camera arms and just camera equipment really to help film all of my hunts. Right here what I have is one of their really lightweight tripod systems, one of the really nice fluid heads, and then I'm set up here with a Canon XA40 video camera with a Rode mic, and then I also have an external monitor here as well. I'll spin that just so that you can kind of see it. And really what this monitor's for is when you're looking through and looking on this screen here, things are very small, very hard to locate on that screen. You got to have it turned just the right way for it to show up somewhat visibly clear to the eye. Whereas what I found with having this external monitor here, it makes everything much bigger, takes away some of the noise that you want that's maybe on this screen, and gives you a much better image that you can tell that you're in focus, that you're also on the object that you want. And it's an easy way too that if you have it kind of turned off to your side when you're filming, that it lets you see clearly whether the animal's on camera or not. You don't always get that, but that's part of the hope. But what I'll do is I'll include in the link all these different things here for the most part, especially the Fourth Arrow that I'm sharing with you. But when I'm in a hunting blind, and also when I'm running and gunning, this right here is the system that I'm using. And ignore the GoPro here for a second, but this is the system I'm using. As you can see here, I've got just some camouflage on the legs just to help kind of cover it a little bit. It's got also too an extension here that can extend up. So if you want to keep a lower profile, or if you want to go ahead and raise it up, then you can go ahead and lock it down. It's got also too 3 different adjustments on the legs. So you can really get it to all kinds of height to where you can do it where you're in the standing position. I like this too to where this can be telescoped up so that if you are sitting down, you don't have to extend the legs clear up. It's a slim profile. Again, you just have the neck. Normally for me, I've got it off to my right side, but that's nice. You also have the ability with these legs, you can go ahead and pop this out, raise it up, and then when it locks in on the next spot, what it's doing is giving you a bigger and a bigger base, and it lets you also be able to sit it as a lower profile as well. And it's got 3 different locations. This one here is further down, gives you more of a higher stance. But this system here with the Fourth Arrow is really nice. A nice floating, smooth fluid head. I've also got installed here the VR Rock Varizoom. So this gives me external controls to where I can control my zoom with the paddle. I can select autofocus or manual focus, turn to record on or off. I can also put it into sleep mode or not. I can also have it in manual, and I've got the ability to focus in and out with this as well. So a lot of different features with this system. And then what I'll do is I'll go into kind of like my my second camera setup. So again, this would be in the blind with me. It would be off to my right hand side here. If I'm in a blind, normally what I'll do is I'll take this handle, loosen this up, and drop it down to where it's not as high a profile, and so it's more down here lower. I'll kind of show you that real quick. So you just loosen this up, drop it down on these teeth, and then now I've got this lower profile again. If I'm kind of sitting here by it, I'm down low with it. My arms aren't up and showing more movement, but I'm down here, can move everything really nice and easy. You got tension controls to where you can make it looser, tighten it up, Part of that is a function of just how heavy is your setup to keep it from wanting to go ahead and tip too far forward. Same way on the side, there's some more adjustments here to control how easy it spins. You can also put it in here so it locks it, so if you're carrying or moving. Same way on this one here, if you don't want it tipping up and down, I can lock it here, keeps it from moving. I can release both of those, go back again. Comes with a carry strap as well. And then I'll show you one of the little things here I do next. So again, this is no different whether I'm in the blind or on the ground. I will plan on having, the camera out here in front of me. And normally what I'll do is I have a head system here that is on a ball, and I'll spin that and rotate it perhaps down to me, especially if I'm in a blind. I'll have it sometimes up so that if a bird's close, it can look down through the window and be able to see close. And I have that monitor where I've got it right here in front of me where I'm able to just watch the animal and watch this monitor just like this, and I'm not really having to move, and it gives me full coverage for a lot of movement of what might be out in front of me. All right, so that's my main camera. Now another thing I'd like to add to it this year is Fourth Arrow offers this other arm. And what I need to get is a little receiver, and it threads down on top of this tripod, and then this slides down in, and then it's got a little set screw here to it to help lock it in. Well, what that does then is mount here. The fluid head would then mount off of this, and what that sets you up for is the ability, to be able to have this range of movement and not just be fixed on the tripod and having to sit there maybe in the blind and move it last second this way or this way, but already have it to where you've got it floating and it can move around. And let's say the bird is stepping behind the corner of the blind, instead of having to move the whole tripod system over and these legs or feet maybe getting in the way, what you can do is just sit there and rotate the camera out, and it can get you a better angle on it. So it gives you some added flexibility. So I want to put this to use this year. All right, so my second angle camera, typically I use my GoPro. This is a GoPro Hero 10 4K, Canon XA40, also 4K. But what I'll do is typically if I'm in a blind, a lot of times I'll use this GoPro Clamp with an extension arm, and I'll mount it up into the corner of the fabric and mount the GoPro off of it. So it's sitting up in normally like an opposing corner, or it could be the same corner, especially if I'm hunting with my boy, and have that pointed down to where it's looking at both of us. And again, all that's providing is that kind of downward look. I have another option, or a few other options really. Sometimes I'll mount it maybe on the front hub assembly to where it's looking straight back at us. Part of the reason why I like to have it up though is especially with the camera system, so that looking down through it's, I think, less likely to be blocked than if I'm down low. And then depending on how it's set up, especially if I'm filming on the right and I'm sitting on the right side, Mason's on the left, I might have it over here. That way the camera is definitely not going to block anything and can see both of us. I also can go ahead and use like a tripod system, set it maybe out in front of us, pointing back at us inside the blind, and just maybe have to have it tipped up a little bit, looking at where we're sitting. But that's another great option here. I've got the GoPro with the media mic system here for getting a little bit better speaker or microphone for it. And then what I have here is the clamp system or jaw for GoPro. This same thing, I use it before too, where I can go ahead and put it up in on the window system, clip it to the fabric, rotate it around to get whatever angle I need to be able to have it on us. I also have this little head system here that gives me the flexibility to rotate it this way or that way, and then also articulate it this way. So a lot of flexibility, got a lot also here with this head, and then these clamps. Now another thing that I can do, and I can do it in the blind as well, it just depends, is the Fourth Arrow stake. And this is a telescoping stake, and so it extends up pretty significantly, but I can stake it down into the ground and then be able to adjust it to where it's looking back at me. The only thing you got to really watch with this is if the ground is really hard, and so you'll find yourself trying to get it stuck down in the ground and maybe have potential issues. I also have seen where this end comes off occasionally, so I like to go ahead and glue them in place so that it doesn't get stuck down in the dirt. And so that pretty much covers in the blind for my second angle. However, when I'm out of the blind, what I'll do sometimes, especially if I have the jaw system, maybe I was in the blind before and I've got this GoPro and I'm going to go ahead and jump out and go run and gun and I'm not carrying everything with me. Typically what I'll do is just simulate the 4th arrow stake. I'll go ahead and get a stick, stab it down in the ground, and then I'll just clamp this to it, point it back at myself, and now I have something just like the 4th arrow stake here that I'm not necessarily having to cover or carry. And then the same thing too, you know, maybe I'm sitting there where there's already a bunch of trees or limbs and I can just clamp it and have it back, or I can use one of the tripod systems as well. And then last thing that I've also done is put on a 3rd angle camera, and what I've done is put it to where it's now on my decoys. And I'll show you some of that footage as well. But with it, typically, is I'll use a tripod, either the smaller one or this one here, which again, this is both through GoPro. I can sit there, just twist it, let it down to whatever I want height-wise. I can set it out in front of the decoys, put it on them. I've got a remote system, so this is a Tacticam. I think it's the Tacticam Solo Extreme. This one is only 1080. I would like to upgrade to 4K, whether I stick with the Tacticam or whether I go with another GoPro. That's one thing I didn't cover. So with this GoPro, with it being out in front of me, even if it's on the tripod or whatever, I do have the GoPro remote. And generally what I do is keep it right here attached to the camera. Again, it's so that I can rotate it, have it right there in front of me. I'm real easily able to reach up, activate it or deactivate it with record, power on, power off, go into sleep, and see what's going on with it. So really nice feature with having those remotes. Same thing here with the Tacticam. Normally what I'll do is set my decoys out at maybe 25, 30 yards, have this facing on the decoy maybe, I don't know, 8, 10 yards away. Again, just trying to get a good angle of view, or a viewing angle of the decoys. And you'll see here that this camera edition has really added some awesome footage. But I can use it either with this or with the smaller one. I can also still use it with the stake if I want. But all of them, again, I'm using it with the remote system. And that would be one more added benefit if I did go ahead and change over and use the GoPro in place of the Tacticam. I can still connect the second one to my remote, and that way anytime I'm activating off the remote, both cameras would be coming on, both cameras would start recording. The way I am right now, I've got to remember to go ahead and kick on my main, get it recording. While I'm also doing that, I'm balancing trying to kick on the GoPro. I'm also kicking on the Tacticam. You know, all this is going on while trying to either A, watch the bird, or I know the bird might be coming. But that's really how it's set up, and that's no different whether I'm in the blind or if I'm running and gunning. You know, this is the one that's always out there, or this one per se, or the stake with the decoy. And again, I'm keeping it back, get that viewing angle, and I'll have like the lay down hen here, the gobbler on his stake just behind her, just maybe a foot or two. And then, you know, here's the fan that comes with this decoy. I've actually made my own fan out of real turkey feathers that I think is a little bit more realistic. But and then the other thing I do is I just have some like soft cloths that you would get for like sunglasses or maybe for cameras, and I use those to store the top here of the Tacticam and then also my GoPro. And even if I'm like running and gunning, what I'll do is just slide it over, wrap it around, tuck it into my pack. You know, I don't have the remote there, I'll have it on my neck, and I've got it stowed away like this, protected. Whenever I get to my location, open it up, you know, pop open the legs real quick, set it down. I can go ahead and pull this off, and I'm ready to go, and the lens is all protected. Doing the same thing with the GoPro, you know, just covering it up. I can keep it attached over the clamp here, get to my spot, pull it off, and then whatever I'm using to go ahead and mount it, I'm able to do. But anyways, that's kind of my setup. Don't know how you all do it. If you would, if you do something a little bit different, you have some ideas or suggestions you think about, go ahead and throw it in the comments section. But this is my general approach to how I go about filming or self-filming for turkey season. And like I said, it doesn't really change whether I'm in the blind or if I'm running and gunning. These are my 3 cameras that I'm using, and these might just be a few things that I'm carrying with me. There's some also different style clamps here. This one, you got to screw it down and then lock it down. So it takes a little bit longer than just the single jaws. But it does have a little bit, it's quieter. There's no noise to it. A lot of bend flexibility. The only thing with this one you got to watch is weight. It seems pretty rigid though, and this is a pretty lightweight camera. And I do have it set up to where this can receive the GoPro with a different threaded on mount. But anyways, that's my approach. Again, if you guys have any questions, let me know. What I'll try to do is include some of these products in the description so that you can refer to the different things I'm using, like 4th Arrow camera arms, GoPro, both accessories for mounting cameras, tripods and stands, and then the Canon XA40. And then I've also got that Feel World monitor, and I can't remember whether it's like a 4-inch or 6-inch monitor. And then yeah, what I like to do is keep this connected up. I'll go ahead and just collapse the legs down, throw the shoulder strap across, and then I'm able to kind of hold that handle of the camera, or I'll hold the neck right here, and I'm able to hurry up, move to my spot, throw the other camera systems in my back or in the back of my turkey vest, and I'm able to go. So anyways, guys, I hope that you found that useful. If you did, don't forget, like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, I'll be bringing you more content. And as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.